Hello, everyone. Good to see you again. So today we will continue on this billing topic in C2M, and we will be talking about the bill corrections. So that means once a bill is completed, if we want to correct the bill, what are the options? We break that down to four sections: overview, and then different types of bill correction. I will talk about the off-cycle bill generator, and also at last, again, we're going to have a look at the entity relationships. Okay, so first of all, let's just remind ourselves, what we have gone through in terms of billing. So we went through financial transactions, which is generated as a result of bill segment, payment segment, or adjustment. Now, financial transaction is the foundation, or is the essence of how account balance is constructed. And we also went through the bill and bill segment in terms of how the life cycle is, how they actually work, what are the configuration points. And I think we have went through in a detail how the bill completion actually works, what events going to happen. So today what we're going to talk about is once a bill is completed and we find something going wrong, what can we do? So first of all, let's define what could be the errors in terms of complete bill. Because if there is really a semantic error, or there is predefined error or within the validation, the bill should fail, or bill segment should fail, and you should get to do either on the bill segment or on the bill. But if you don't, after all these rules has running through the validations, which could be defined as pre-completion algorithms, after all these rules has been running, you still have not detect the errors. Now, these could be, there is, for example, there is a read which is not substantially different, but it is taken from a different source. Okay, so for example, if you have estimated a bill, but actual reads come in, it potentially trigger a cancel rebill. So that could be treated as an error of the bill, which need to be corrected. Or you could have cases where incorrect tax has been applied on the bill, or it could be the tax exemption. For example, in UK, you could have the VAT CCL certificate, which was missing when the bill is generated. Or otherwise, you could have a price error where price can be prorated, but by the time at the time of let's say the bill is generated, the price was not updated in the bill factors. So all these cases doesn't necessarily trigger a bill or bill segment validation error, but it still need to be treated as bill in error. And then what we need, so what will happen is when you cancel the bill, you actually cancel the bill segments. So remember, the bill is just a collection of bill segments. If a frozen bill segment is is there. It's actually considered that it has already been sent to GL. So you cannot delete a bill segment which is already generated and frozen. If you have a frozen bill segment, it needs to be reversed, which means a new financial transaction will be created against this bill segment, and it is marked as a reverse. Okay, with the same with the reverse amount of the current amount, or of the financial amount to cancel out the original amount. And the last will the cancellation and rebill can be separate process. When we say cancel rebill, we always talk about, if you cancel the last one, you create a new one. But in reality, they don't necessarily happen at the same time. You could cancel a bill, say, you find the issue now, okay, you cancel the bill, and the rebill might just happen in the next bill cycle automatically, rather than you have to rebill manually. But it's all dependent on what the business wants. Okay, so part 2, let's look at the different types, how we can correct the bill. Okay, so let's talk about these 3 different types of correcting bills. What we need to understand is these 3 types should be used based on how the business want the customer to see the bill. So I will go through them and tell what the difference is. Okay, so first one is cancel rebill. Okay, so cancel rebill involves canceling the bill segment and create a new bill segment in the same transaction. That actually means a canceled financial transaction will be created for our original bill segment to reverse the amount in credit. To reverse the amount of debit, which is the chargeable to your customer, and create a new bill segment and the financial transaction, which is the rebilling. Okay, so both of these are actually linked to the original bill, so there's no new bill being created, but the financial transaction of the cancellation of the new FT will be frozen, and it will be swept onto the next bill. So imagine you have, let's say it's a monthly billing. The customer might make a payment during the month, maybe it's direct debit, for example, and you could have adjustment coming in during the month, and also you have the bill for the next month, which is financial transaction, and it will actually add these 2 financial transactions, cancellation and the rebill financial transaction, in the next bill. So it will be a bill which contains everything in the next bill. Okay, so we kind of seeing all the financial transactions get merged into the next bill. Second option, which is credit note. So for credit note, if the customer wants to see the cancellation and rebilling on separate bills, credit note is used. That actually means when a customer created credit notes, the system cancels the bill segment on the original bill segment. It creates a financial transaction to cancel out, and that financial transaction is staying on the original bill. Okay, and sorry, the bill segment stay on the original bill, and it creates a new bill, which contain these financial transactions, and the bill cancel out the original bill. Okay, so for this credit note, it's reverse the original bill. So, by the way, the credit note is a bill itself. Okay, so it's a bill reversing original bill, and that is the credit note. So credit notes may be created for a single bill segment or for all the bill segments linked to a bill. Now the last one is correction notes. Okay, so actually what the credit note is, because credit note is a financial transaction, so what that a credit note is a bill. So if a credit note is created, it's actually taking all the financial transaction which is frozen as well. So all the frozen financial transactions swept on to the next bill, right? So this credit note may contain other bills, but that's a difference from the original cancel rebill, because cancel rebill could have other financial transactions. Now, if you want a credit note, if you want a very clean bill which is only containing cancellation and rebilling, a correction note will be needed. So when a user creates a correction note, the system cancels the bill segments and creates a new bill segment, then swaps both onto a new bill, which is the correction note. Now, this is the difference between three types of corrections. Now, it's also linked to how you want to show the customer there's a cancellation. In many cases, you actually don't want to even send the cancellation to your customer. So definitely you won't choose cancel rebill, because the financial transaction will go onto the next bill. Now, you could use both credit note and correction note, and by not sending them out, okay. But how would you actually tell the customer there is a cancellation, and what about the rebill part? So that is something decided based on the by the business, saying, okay, maybe we want to create the credit. Let's say in the case of credit, we will create a credit, but we won't send out the credit note to the customer, and we will just inform the customer once this cancellation is done. There are different consideration when it's come to how you actually correct bills. It also works in combination of whether you want to send out the bill to the customer, and how if you want to send the bill to the customer, how do you want to print that credit note or correction note, for example. So yeah, there are considerations in different scenarios. So it's down to the actual requirements within your project. A few more notes. So when at the point of bill's completion, both cancellation FT and the original FT are swept onto the same bill, and both are actually marked as do not print. Okay, so if they are, let's say in the case of cancel rebuild, they basically say do not print. So in that case, what is left is the new build segment being rebuilt, and that will be the one only being created. And based on that, you can also do mass correction. So for example, if your error has been detected before actually the bill being sent out to the customer, which means maybe last night all the bills went wrong, what you can do is you can run these steps below, which is the mass cancellation, mass reopen, and the billing batch, which will rebuild the bills for last night. So by running these, you will be able to mass correct all the bills in the last run. Okay, so section 3 off-cycle generator. So off-cycle generator is a relatively new concept in CCNB, but it's been there since many years ago. So what this object is doing is it gives you an opportunity to manually generate a bill. I mean, you can generate a bill at will, right? But also you can generate a bill using off-cycle generator because what it is based on is a business object. And for business object, you have life cycle, etc. So you can define the events and also logic happening at different events. And one of the use of off-cycle generator and one of the main use of off-cycle generator is the cancel rebuild. Okay, especially when MDM, for example, we were talking about this. So if we have estimate read and actual reads coming in a bit later, the bill already being generated and sent to the customer, what it can do is it can trigger a cancel rebuild when the actual read is finalized. So in MDM, when the read is finalized, it triggers, it moves the usage transaction object in MDM to a subsequent correction, and that would actually trigger the usage request in CCNB to cause to create off-cycle generator, and the off-cycle generator will then cancel the bill, cancel and rebuild in that case. So it is a quite often used pattern for MDM to trigger cancel rebuild if there is any changes in terms of consumption. And also you can define things like thresholds in the cancel rebuild. So for example, if your billing is, say, within 1%, maybe there is no point of cancel rebuild. So all these things can be defined on the life cycle and also on the billing as well. And the other feature about this is it has UI support. It has the Polo and zones for searching, reporting, etc. So it is something quite different from the the rest of the CCNB object, which is maintenance based. So with the with the business object based feature, it can achieve a lot of things, and you can easily customize the logics. Right, last one is the entity relationship. So over here, I think I just put down the off-cycle build generator, which is new. Now for off-cycle build generator is it has a reference to the service agreement. It have a reference to the adjustment, which potentially off-cycle generator can be caused by adjustment, and also similarly, off-cycle generator can be caused by billable charge. Okay, in each of these cases, off-cycle generator will run through the logic in its life cycle, and you can see the rest of the child table of off-cycle generator is quite standard. Just characteristic and log, and normally the characteristic can be used to refer to other important information if needed, which can be referenced in the cancel rebuild process. Okay, so that's everything for today. Thank you very much, and have a good weekend.